Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be learning how to draft a shirt dress. And you know, when cutting your shirt dress, you need to cut the back and the front piece differently. But I'm going to use this pattern paper to draft out both the front and the back at the same time. Don't worry, as we go on with the video, you understand what I'm talking about. Make sure when cutting, your material is on fold. So to cut the front piece of your shirt, you need to leave about 2 inches or 3 inches for your button flap. So this space you are seeing here, this 3 inches is for my button flap. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to mark the length I'll be using. I'm going to mark the length of my shirt dress. So from the edge of the paper, I'm going to place my tape and come down to mark the length. So I'm using 39 for the length of my shirt. I'm just going to mark 39 right here and then go ahead and rule it out. So this is the length. So after marking the length, the next thing I'm going to do right here is to get my shoulder measurements. So my shoulder is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. I'm going to mark 8 inches. The half an inch is for seaming allowance. I'll just go ahead and mark 8. So on this point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant. You know our shoulders are not straight, so I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant and then go ahead and rule out the line like so. So from this point now, I'm going to come down and mark my armhole point. How to get your armhole measurement? You divide your bust by 6 and then add 1.5 inches to the measurement. That is how to get your armhole points or measurements. You divide your bust by 6, then add 1.5 inches to the measurement. So this is for my armhole. This is our new chest line. So from the edge of the paper, I'm going to come down and mark my bust point. So from my shoulder to my bust point is 10. I'll just go ahead and mark it right here. Then go ahead and rule it out. This is my bust line. So after marking my bust line, I'm going to go ahead and mark my hip point. I'm not going to mark my waist point because I don't want this shirt fitted. So if you want your own fitted, you can go ahead and mark your waistline. But I'm not marking my waistline. Like I said earlier, I don't want this shirt fitted on my body. So from my shoulder to my hip is 25. I'll just go ahead and mark it right here. So this is my bust line, my hip, and then the length. Like I said, if you want your own fitted, it's a shirt dress, so I don't want it fitted. You can mark your waistline before your hip, but I don't want it fitted. So on my armhole line, I'm going to divide my bust by 4. My bust is 34. My 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. I'll just go ahead and mark it right here on the bust line and then extend the line to the chest line this way. So I'm going to measure my armhole line and then divide it into 2. Whatever I have there, I'll mark the center points, divide it into 2 like that, and then connect the points to this point I have on the chest line this way. This is how to get your armhole curve. So this is my armhole curve. The next thing I'm going to do right here is to impute my measurements. I'm going to divide my hip by 4. My hip is 36 divided by 4 is 9. So I'm just going to mark it on the hip line. So on that point, I'm going to extend the line up to the bust line this way. So whatever you have on the hip line, you bring it down and mark it on the length. Whatever you have there, so I'm just going to connect the line down to the length this way. So this is basically all the measurements we need for this tutorial. I'm just going to add 1 inch. This is not for ease, this 1 inch is for seaming allowance. I'm just going to go ahead and mark the 1 inch on all the line, on the bust line, on the hip line, as well as the length, and then go ahead and connect the points this way. This is for seaming allowance. I'm sorry, my line is not straight, so make sure when drafting your own to make sure you keep your hands straight. So I'm going to mark another 1 inch. This one is for ease. It's a shirt dress. I don't want it fitted like too tight on my body, so this 1 inch I'm adding to all the line is for ease. Please try as much as possible to keep your hands straight when drafting your own. Mine is not straight, so my lines are not straight. I'm sorry, pardon me. All right, so this is basically it. These are all the measurements. The next thing I'm going to do right here is to mark the neck of my shirt. So I'm going to use 3 inches for the width. 3 inches. This 3 inches is for both front and the back. Then for the back depth, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inch. And then I'll just go ahead and connect it. 3 inches for the width, and then 1.5 for the depth, and this is for the back neck. Then what I'm going to do now is to come down by 3 inches for the depth, and this is for the front. So I'm using 3 by 3 for the fronts. We use 3 inches for the width, and then 1.5 inches for the depth, which is for the back, and then 3 by 3 for the front neck. I'll just go ahead and connect it this way. So this one is the back, the upper one is the back neck, and then the one under is the back neck. I'll just go ahead and cut out the back neck. So after you might have cut your neck, to cut this on your fabric, you need to fold this 3 inches. These 3 inches we left out for our button flap. After cutting your pattern paper out, after cutting it out this way, these 3 inches we left for our button flap. You know, this button flap is only for the front. Before you cut the back, you fold this space in. You fold it in this way before you place it on your fabric to cut the back piece. So before cutting the back piece, you fold it in this way, and then you place it on your fabric, and then you cut. After you are done cutting the back piece, to cut the back, the front, you open it this way again. You know, the 3 inches is for the front. Then you cut the neck out, and then you cut it out. So this is basically how to draft out a shirt dress. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Please do well to subscribe to my channel if you have not done that. Bye.